Hey guys, how are you? Let's talk superheroes. And you see here in front of me these figures of many different superheroes that are iconic, some not so iconic, from different times and eras, right? Maybe some of you watching this video at some point may not even know where these superheroes are from. Particularly new people growing up today. Guys, how are you? It's me, your boy Hebot, back with another collection, I guess, or a collection showcase. And I hope you guys enjoy the video. I hope you join me for the ride. I'm basically doing a video to kind of follow up on what my brother, Unlimited Production, touched on his channel when he showed his superhero collection, video game collection, specifically, and how many video games have come and gone and been around for so long, and many that are very good that people just didn't pay attention to, and they haven't really made a mark in gaming, or never have, or never was prevalent, never did big numbers. With the exception that I think the one that actually started, video game superhero success, to be honest, if I had to say, would be the Batman Arkham series that started on the 360 era and the PS3 era, right? Those were the first games that were superhero based that actually made a mark for every other game that came after it, right? Even though there were many of games before it and during that were actually just as good, if not better, but never were talked about, right? Because video games and that were, tied into either licenses of movies or licenses of a comic book game character or an existing character of a cartoon, they really never really turned out to be high quality, right? That was the perception and the idea and the thought process growing up, with video games. When it started back, in the Atari Odyssey, and then obviously arcade, and then transitioned into the Sega Master System and NES era. And since then, that's how it was always looked at. Even in the arcades, when you went and saw a licensed game, it wasn't really good unless it was like maybe in the arcade, right? Or something that was high quality or high profile, like a Star Wars game, right? Like pod racing, for example, or the Star Wars arcade game. So I'm showing you my figures here, right? Just because, I had them out on the table, laid out, to give you guys an idea of superheroes that, have been around and exist. But I'm going to get a quick pause, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you my collection of actual superhero games that I have in my possession right now as of today. When I see all these people trying to act like the only superhero games that count now are the ones on PlayStation, which is only really one game, which is Spider-Man, and then the DLC Miles Morales expansion, right? And yet most of them have never played other superhero games ever, right? In the past, you have some people that really are legitimately gamers and that have played the ones before, but majority haven't. And then they swear by the Bible up and down that only those games make sense or are important just because of the superhero hype now behind the movies. Because that's really why more casuals that are just comic fans or maybe a movie fan are paying attention in the video game space and market. Not because of anything else. And then they have, the audacity to think that gives them the right to have an opinion and talk about it. And try to act as if those were the only ones that count or that are good and worth playing, while they never played any other ones in the past, right? So that means by default, you lose full credibility and have no merit on your discussion or your opinion or what you're saying because you haven't played them. So sit back and relax and let's look at my video game superhero game collection. And, of course, I don't want to make it seem like I'm undermining my brother Unlimited's video, because he did a great video and The good thing about us in the Exile Brothers is that we always like to feed off each other to create content and ideas, and we'll borrow it from one another, but we'll try to do our own version of it or our own point of view from it. But we never try to take it as we're trying to outshine each other, right? Or trying to be better than one another. He gave me his blessings, as I told him. I didn't feel comfortable because I didn't want to undermine his. But he gave me his blessing, and he told me go for it because he would like to see the collection. And I'm grateful to have someone as real and as a good a friend as him by my side to actually be understanding and to actually cheer me on to wanting to do the video, because that's what real brotherhood and friendship should be about. It shouldn't be about outshining the other person by doing things behind their back or trying to do more than what that other person did behind your back, or you doing something that you did and then trying to imitate what you did and trying to do it better than you did to get credit and act like it was your idea when it wasn't, and things like that. You guys know what I'm talking about. So let's get right into my collection. I'll be right back. So here I am. I'm back. So let's start off, right, with my first superhero game, and that is none other than the Spawn game for the Sega Dreamcast. And this was an arcade release from Sega from the comic book character Spawn. Plays very much like Outriggers and is a very fun game and was ahead of its time. Awesome game. That's one of the first that I have. Second, let's move on to one of the king of the crops for many years, and that is Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on Dreamcast. As you can see, it's still in its original case, and it was a testament to the video game era in that Dreamcast generation. Still one of the most talked about superhero games. And I know they're just fighting games, but they're still superhero games nonetheless. Then I had things like the brand new and newly released Ultimate Alliance 3. That's only exclusive on the Switch for whatever reason, even though I don't even think they paid for the actual development and publishing of this game. All they paid was for the exclusivity rights. And it's a shame because it's a very beautiful game with a lot of issues that should be addressed and would be better if you played it on a new generational console, right? So, moving right along, I'm going to show you a lot of more of the more current games that came out this generation, right? During the generation of the Xbox One and now into Series X. And real quick, I do have the Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2 remasters that came out on the Xbox One era and the PS4 era. I had the original ones for 360, but got rid of them when I got the the digital ones that were Ultimate because I thought they were obviously the better version. There was no need for them, but I should have kept them because they're high price on value and they still have their own dedicated achievements, obviously. Next up, I have another game that was on 360, but they made a Xbox One and PS4 version, which is Deadpool. A wonderful and incredible game with just a tad bit of needing a little bit of polish to make it an absolute 100% masterpiece. And this is done by High Moon Studios and Marvel Games. Activision was the publisher. And as you know, High Moon did games like Dark Watch, the cowboy first-person shooter set in the, kind of vampiric era that came out back on the OG Xbox. Obviously, the newly released Avengers, that is like, kind of divided. Some people like it, some people don't. And I see both sides of the argument, but still, a very high-quality game, which I haven't been able to really dive into because of all the things that I have to do and all the responsibilities and games I have to play. I barely get a chance to, really dive in to one game. Now, here I have the greatest superhero game that came out this generation so far, hands down. There's no way in hell that Spider-Man on PS4 even comes close. Whether you guys want to accept that or not, it just doesn't. But this is the Batman Arkham Knight game, that came out by Rocksteady, which we should see the Gotham Knight one soon. Then I have here the Ultimate, right? Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which is another fighter, another good one. I also have the arcade remaster, I believe, on the 360 and on the Xbox, I believe. Then I have the remaster of the Arkham Knight series that they remastered for this gen, which is Arkham Knight and Arkham City. Then we have the Marvel versus Capcom Infinite, right? Which is also from this gen. Also from this gen, the Amazing Spider-Man 2, which, although it may not be graphically as impressive as the new one, or with better voiceover actors because the budget is just not on the same level, the game itself, much better executed with way better control and way better execution and way more accurate to the lore and light and and world of Spider-Man. A much better game than Spider-Man PS4, whether you want to accept it or not, because you guys that argue that it's not are only looking at graphics and voice acting that are mocap, which is nothing to do with the quality of the game itself. The next is the Injustice 2, the Legendary Edition. This was given to me as a gift. Shout outs to Ghost Rider, and this was his gift to me when he came to visit me, when I interviewed him in my home, and I'm very grateful that I still got it, thanks to him. So yeah, this is it, Injustice 2. And sorry, make sure I have enough space since I have so many here. Next, we have one of the best Batman games that many of you probably never even touched, and that's the Batman video game, The Brave and the Bold, from the cartoon that was on the Wii. This is a 2D side-scrolling beat-em-up, and man, does this game deliver. Warner Brother Games, fantastic game, and I can't recommend it enough. It's still fairly affordable, and made by Way Forward. That should tell you everything right there. And many people never even touched it. Never even played it. Next, I have on the Xbox OG, the Batman Begins, based off the movie. Decent game, wonderful covers, decent graphics. Just, of course, it suffered the fact that it wasn't a very good and talented developer behind it at the time. But nonetheless, it was still pretty decent. So we have the Batman Begins. Then also following that, I have the Ghost Rider for PS2. And this was by Marvel Games. 2K was the publisher. It was developed by, I believe it was Climax, the developer, as you see there. And this is a game that plays very much like the original God of Wars, but with Ghost Rider, and you would even have segments where you rode on his bike. Very good game. I think it's a hidden gem, underrated, and a lot of people never even played it. Probably the best game of most superhero games that many people didn't play because of stupid Giant Bomb Jeff, whatever his name was, saying that it was a 3. And when I played it, I was like, I don't know what he's smoking, because this game is definitely not a 3, and that is none other than The Punisher. And it's a little dusty. Forgive me for that, prudence, but the best THQ, obviously. 175 kills, a lot of cameos from a lot of different superheroes. But Punisher is one of the best games you'll ever play as far as superhero games. And this was back compat on 360, but never made its way to Xbox One via back compat. Next is the better of the movie games, which was Spider-Man 2, based off the movie. But it was one of the better Spider-Man games, right, of the generation that were on OG Xbox. And this is based off the second movie. Underrated, but it was, cult following after the fact. So here we have, Spider-Man 2. And moving right along, I have the more kid-friendly 4-player co-op. I believe it's 4-player co-op. Spider-Man Friend or Foe, also by Activision, as you can see. 360. And, it was a very fun game, more simplified graphically, but it was still really a lot of fun. More like a beat-em-up and action-adventure platforming at the same time. Then we have Spider-Man Edge of Tomorrow. Wonderful cover, beautiful cover. Excellent game. Excellent game. Where Beanox started doing their thing. As you see there. Started doing their formulas and their creativity and ideas within the Spider-Man games, realm, and world. And they were doing such a great job that they did a bunch of games for Activision. And still didn't sell. And a lot of people didn't even try them out. And yet they say they're Spider-Man fans. Next we have the Incredible Hulk from Sega. Excellent game. The continuation or the spiritual successor to Destruction or Ultimate Destruction that was out on the OG. Beautiful graphics, nice physics, destructions everywhere. Very good game. Kind of pricey at this point, but good game nonetheless. Then to show y'all that, yes, we had the Arkham series. Here is Arkham City, the Game of the Year edition on 360, which we own. Then we have another underrated game that this was also by the wonderful people at Double Helix who did the Killer Instincts. They did the new Strider for this generation, which also was underrated. They did obviously Killer Instincts, and they were originally known as the I think it was I forgot the name, but they're the ones who did the Buffy game and Indiana Jones during the OG era. And they had 3D glasses that came with it that looked like the lantern eyes. See? It's all in there. And you could actually play the game in 3D, and it worked, and it was awesome. And people basically didn't give it a try because it was based off a movie license. And they thought, oh no, it's not going to be good, right? Next up, probably the best game from the Sega series that they brought out. From the 5 games they did. And this game is spectacular. The fighting combat, the story, even the graphics, and the gameplay mechanics as it goes along. This game, personally for me, rivaled everything that Batman did as far as gameplay mechanics, right? And the fighting style. Now, obviously, the graphic quality wasn't to the same standard because the budget wasn't at the same standard. But as far as the game itself, phenomenal. And this was developed by one of the other Sega in-house, and I believe you see there, it was called right there, Next Level. There was a Sega in-house, and they did a fantastic job. Which a lot of people say, oh no, I didn't like it, I didn't try it. Or they said that game sucked. That's what I always hear from people. Then I have the kiddie one, which is Marvel Superhero Squad, the Infinity Gauntlet, as you see, on THQ. A little fun game, but, obviously more kid-oriented, but nonetheless a Marvel game. So I picked that up, and we tried that out. Also, remember that I also have all the Lego games, which I didn't want to include in the video because I thought, they're Lego games, but they are from DC and Marvel. You'll probably see it in my digital part of this video because, in the digital part, you'll see that, I'm going to show you all the games I have digitally from the Xbox One era to the Xbox Series X era, and from the 360 era as well. So next I have is the official game from the X-Men movie with Hugh Jackman and Wolverine as Wolverine on the cover from Activision Marvel Games. There you go. Kind of, fun. Obviously, not the best in the standards of quality, but decent enough. Then I have the Superman Returns based off the movie, right? That was with Brandon Roth, aka. And this game had a lot of potential to be one of the better Superman games, but I wish that they did a brand new Superman game with the quality and budget of today, because I feel it deserves it and has been overlooked. I have that one. Again, here is the very first Arkham Knight. The very first cover from Rocksteady. And it's the 360 version, which you guys saw already. I have the actual, remastered versions for OG, for the new Xbox One generation. Then the best Spider-Man game you're ever going to play, being as far as the full package, everything. This is the game that paved the way for Spider-Man PS4, in my personal opinion. And I can, point it out to you frame by frame why. This is everything you see in Spider-Man PS4 is included in this game, and it was done and executed better, even better so than Spider-Man 2, because this actually had more budget, more time, and it was Beanox at their prime, as you see there. And this is a slip cover. That's why you see the back metaling. And a lot of people just ignored that game. Didn't really pay it no mind. Then I have, remember the PS4 one that I left over there? Then I have here Spider-Man Web of Shadows 360. Another excellent game. And again, another game people didn't really pay attention. This one was developed by Treyarch. If you see that they do now mainly Call of Duty stuff. And you notice how I have a plethora of Spider-Man games. And I love when people come to me, oh, you don't know nothing about Spider-Man. You don't know nothing about Spider-Man. And yeah, once again, another Spider-Man game based off Spider-Man 3 on 360. You see that? Another Spider-Man game. Okay? Because I played them all. I told you. I owned mostly all of them. Also developed by Treyarch. And moving right along. Here we go. Another Spider-Man game. Shattered Dimension. Another excellent game where you can actually play as all four of them in different timelines in the Spider-Man world. And you even got the Scarlet Spider-Man. Again, Activision. And again, it was developed by Beanox. Paving the way. Paving the way, baby. Treyarch and Beanox paved the way for Spider-Man games to what it is today on PS4. There you go. Spider-Man Platinum Edition from Spider-Man 1. As you see there. From the movie. The Green Goblin played by William Dafoe. And you see this is another movie license game. This was developed by... oh boy. I believe it was them right there. But I can't make out the... it's too blurry. Sorry. This was when they started doing the licensing of the movies. But I have that one as well. Then, for all the hype of, oh my God, the new Wolverine is going to be amazing. This freaking game right here, Wolverine's Origins, Uncaged Edition, by Activision, is absolutely phenomenal. A beat-em-up, hack-and-slash platformer that rocked and didn't sell well at all last generation, or the 360 generation. A lot of people didn't even play this game. But they're hype and all over social media now. saying, "Oh my God, I can't wait for Wolverine." You see, this was developed by. I can't see it. I can't see it. It's somewhere there. I'll look for it somewhere. I'm not sure, but it was developed by someone in-house at Activision, which was a phenomenal Wolverine game. Then moving right along, I have The Watchmen. The End is Nigh, Part 1 and 2. Another beat 'em up. This was originally on the arcade marketplace, and then they released a physical form copy of it, and I picked that up as well as the owning the arcade marketplace one. And this is based off the movie, side story, and it's pretty fun, and it's a beat 'em up from the Watchmen comic and graphic novel. Then also moving right along, we have Young Justice Legacy. What? Smaller game, more, oriented and targeted to kids. Developed by Freedom Factory and Little Orbit. Published by DC Comics and DC Universe of Warner Brother Games. Then, of course, we have the Arkham Origins. Another phenomenal game. Probably the best one in the Arkham City. Next to Arkham Knight, which a lot of people don't like to hear that, but I think it is because it's more cinematic and the boss fights are way more memorable and the gameplay is a lot more smoother. Doesn't look as good as the other two, but it has a lot more gameplay mechanics that are a lot more fun and intuitive and way more exciting boss battles and story, to be quite honest. Then I have next the Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, based off the second movie from the Fantastic Four, as you see there. It's an okay game. It's not too bad. It's alright. It's not the greatest, but, again, it's part of the collection. Game I played as well. And, like I said, it's another game that didn't do well, didn't sell well, tied to a movie, and people never even played. Oh boy, sorry about that. Let's put the camera this way. Next I have here Hellblade, The Science of Evil. And this game is alright. It plays like a God of War style game with other elements, but it needed some more polishing. But it's still pretty decent. Published by Konami, of course. That was a big deal at the moment because Konami would not publish garbage games. Not to say that the game is garbage, but it definitely could have been much, much better with some more polish, but it lacked budget. But it's still decent enough. If you can get your hands on it, it's pretty cheap, worth owning. Another game that had so much potential, great potential, and that was Thor, God of Thunder from Sega. This played exactly like the original God of Wars, Ninja Blade, Ninja Gaiden, the same style. Devil May Cry, but it was lacking some polish, right? But the game, if it's back compared right now with the power of the console, would probably run beautifully. And this was also developed by Scaleform and Liquid and some other people there. Graphics were great, but again, another game that could be back compat, but still isn't. And I'm going to show you also next the other Sega game, which was pretty decent, not graphically pleasant, like intense, but very decent, 60 frames in all, which was Iron Man. The first game Sega published in the deal they made with Marvel back in the 360 era. And this was a decent game, had different gameplay styles. This was also done by, as you see there, Secret Level. And they did this one. This had nice combat, air combat, and some nice mechanics. And even the sequel, Iron Man 2, which was actually co-op, had way better graphics, nice improvement. But I felt the gameplay in the gameplay department kind of went backwards because they went to 30 frames and But that's because they were opting for visuals over frame rate because of the limitations of the 360, of course. But it was co-op as well. I'm pretty sure that played a factor. But it was decent, you know. It was very good. There you go. And it was by, I think this is Sega themselves, one that developed the game, you know. And of course, last but certainly not least, the infamous and ever talked about Spider-Man PS4, as you see here. Yes, the Insomniac Spider-Man PS4, which is the only game that you guys are always try to tout is that matters, right? With the logic that you use, which is crazy, because I want one person to still tell me what this game did that the Beanox games hadn't done first. Because the Beanox games set the standard and paved the way for open world, action adventure, combat heavy, story narrative driven heavy, even with sections where you're walking, doing, you know, side quests, fighting bosses. All those things was done first on the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. Even the tributes to Stan Lee, you know, talking to Aunt May, even a conversation, you know, system where you spoke in, you know, with different dialogue and changed the dialogue up during the cutscenes, and you felt like more interactive and that you were more in control of the conversation, like in Amazing Spider-Man 2, and so much more. Comic book collecting, where you know, actually learn the history of the original comics and stories, were implemented on the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 that this game didn't even do. So, besides graphics and acting mocap quality that is obviously at a higher standard, what did this game do that was better than the other ones that were done first, and that what did they do new that the other ones didn't do? I still need someone yet till this day to tell me what it did, because no one can, because they don't know. Because most people that played this are new to the game, never played any Spider-Man game before, don't know what the hell even Beanox or their games are, like Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, and really believe that this is the only first best Spider-Man game just because of graphic quality and mocap acting quality, which is ludicrous and absurd. So, guys, there you have it. There is my comic superhero collection games physical that I have in my possession as of this day. There's many, many more that I still didn't get on, you know, let's say consoles like, you know, the PS2, the Dreamcast. OG has a bunch that I don't got, that you guys might have seen on Unlimited's channel. They had a bunch of them that were really cool, that I still have to obtain, or don't own anymore because I bought them, traded them in, whatever the case may be, for the time that I did, just so that I can gain money to buy other ones or other games. Next, I'm going to move on to the other part of this video. I'll start off with the Xbox One digital stuff, and then I'll end it with the 360 digital stuff. So I hope you stay tuned, and I hope you enjoy. I'll see you real soon. So real fast, for this part of the video, you guys can see there that I have, right? I have 1,428 games digitally on the Xbox One. So I'm just going to show y'all real fast what games that are superhero games that I have digitally. For example, I have I believe is here, I have Injustice digitally for the 360 because it's back on pat. They never made the remaster that they put on PS4 and 5, because I believe you can play it via back and pat on PS5 on Xbox. So I have it there. And then I also have some other stuff. If I scroll down here, like, the Batman Lego. These I have physical, but they're installed. But I have Lego, the Marvel superheroes, Batman 3, Young Gotham, Marvel Superheroes 2, Marvel's Avengers, but I don't really count them because they're not like for adult style superhero games, in the sense of the word. For example, the way that, other games like, something like, let's say something like the Spider-Man. Like the Spider-Man PS4, the way that game is more for adults, right? So I'll scroll down. You see I have the Marvel's Heroes Omega. I have these two also here, which are the so-called quote-unquote remastered versions from the 360, but I don't have them in physical on 360. So I have Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2. And that's pretty much it as far as Marvel, or superhero games for the generation of Xbox One going into now the Xbox Series X. There hasn't really been a lot of superhero games, and a lot of that is the reason why people keep sucking and prying or head over gaga over Spider-Man, because it stands out, right? And now with the announcement of Wolverine, and obviously the sequel to Spider-Man on PS4, because there was just not a lot of options other than the Batman Arkham Knights that you saw on my first part of the video with the physical, the Avengers, now the upcoming Guardians of the Galaxy, and what else? And the remasters of the Batman Arkham 1 and 2. As you see, I have Power Rangers as a superhero game. I have the actual fighting one, but it's not like in the Marvel universe or DC. And I also have the what's the other one called? This one, the beat 'em up one, the Power Rangers Mega Battle. That's also came out this gen, considered superhero, quote unquote, based on games that are supposed to be of a superhero. Not DC, not Marvel, of course. And what I'm going to do after this video, I'm going to do and show you guys real quick what I have. Also, the Ninja Turtles I have here, again, another superhero. What I have also available, digitally of course, on the 360, right? Because the 360 had some other superhero games that were tied in there digitally. Wasn't a lot, but nonetheless, there was some there. And as you see, as I get to the end of the Z's and W's, that's it. So that's this portion of the video that I have games that I have digitally. As you can see there, 1,428 on the Xbox Series X that came from Xbox One. Okay guys, and this here should be the last part of the video of my, comic book or superhero, if you will, video game collection that I have in my possession as of today. You see here I'm on my Xbox 360, and there is my profile, Hebot8. There's many other profiles. We'll sign in, because this is the only 360 in the household, to be honest, and we share it, so it's kind of hard to spend more time on the 360. As you see, I'm signing in right now, and I forgot how long it takes sometimes to do sign-ins, and I'm hoping I have no issues, obviously, with the internet. And I guess it feels long because of how spoiled we were. Yeah, look at that. How spoiled we are with the Xbox One X and Series X, it's a pretty big difference, as you can see. Still waiting for it to load up. And there it is. Loaded up. Took a while, but it loaded up. And it's kind of cool to see, how that gives you more appreciation. Look, my thing just popped up right now. You see? Still kind of, was taking its time. Just to see how long, how far we've come and how good we have it with, and how good we have it with these new consoles. So I've moved to the tab, and the top says games, and now I'm going to go to my games, which is whatever and all of the games that we personally own. Just loading up again. It's kind of crazy how the process feels so slow in comparison to what we have today. It feels almost instantaneous. Here we go. So you see in the very corner it says 223 games owned digitally on 360. And there's Afterburner. Love to see that back compat. So we're going to move over and scroll to the side. And here's another superhero game I have. The Batman Blackgate, which is the 2D side-scroller that was on the DS. That came to the consoles, which should be back compat, but isn't. And it connects to the Arkham Asylum universe and games. So there's one. And look, I have Blood Rain. Didn't that just come out yesterday? Oh God, I already own it. Look at that. Bubble Bobble, Burger Time, Burnout Crash. The reason why you don't see the pictures on the tabs is because they've been discontinued and they take off for some reason. You can't even show the actual graphics art of the game, which to me is kind of mind-boggling. Doesn't make really much sense, but it is what it is. Oh, look, Death Smiles 2. I have 1 physical and 2 digital, and they're going to want to charge me that remaster coming out. You see that? The Double Dragons 1 and 2 from the remaster and the original arcade. Dungeon Fighters, awesome game, but that's not what we're talking about. Chris, Hebot, keep focus. I'm losing focus. Sorry that it's taking long. Like I said, this is a whole different beast. Invisible Tiger, try to make sure I don't miss JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the arcade one from Capcom. I'm just trying to make sure that I look. I have a partially owned Local Cycle, Mark of Cree, and then look again. We have Dark Alliance, the 361 digitally, and Marvel Ultimate Alliance again, 1 and 2, which we own on 360 digital, but we don't have it physical. Then we have here, this would be Marvel versus Capcom 2, right? The one that was on the Dreamcast, but we still own it digital here. And my son got it for the Achievos, obviously. And then this was the Marvel vs. Capcom 1 Origins, the original, which we only have the demo. We never got to actually purchase it. We missed out on that train because it got delisted, thanks to, Marvel Disney taking things out and, basically us not having, the freedom to play these great Marvel games. And look, I have Outrun Online. You see that? Another game that should be back compat. Raystorm. So many gems here on the 360 that should be back compat. The new and old Russian attacks. Yes, Scott Pilgrim. I owned it very, very long time ago. Shank 1, another one. But again, this is not part of the video, Chris. Keep focus, Chris. Oh boy. I'm trying to see what else is I have here. I think that's it. It might be. Wait, let me see. Hold on. I think we have. Oh yeah, there it is. There it is. Oh, wait. Yep. And just so you can see, so you see that I'm not lying, because it don't have the tab, it was discontinued. Let's go into it. We have the, Konami arcade classic that pretty much was one of the ones that started it all in a big way with comic book games when they started getting more advanced, obviously, and a lot more better quality based off from the beginning times, obviously, right? Here we have it. Is the arcade version, right? Arcade version of the classic arcade game, which is the X-Men. And yes, there you see. You see, I have it. And X-Men. You see? Beautiful. And put the volume just a little bit so you guys can hear it. There you go. In all of its glory. X-Men. So guys, there you have it. Let me troll you just a little bit. I'm going to go in and play a game. Just to troll. Just to be funny. And you see there, US. Put it on expert, hard, normal. Stage 1, 6 players. Beautiful. You play the Japanese version. American version, which, again, this game should be back compat. And guess what? It isn't. You know why? Because dumbass Disney Marvel don't want to let these games, right? They don't want to let these games be back compat. And it's not true. Look at those sentences. So guys, give me a thumbs up if you liked the video. Give me a thumbs down if you didn't like the video. Let me know what you think in the comments below of my collections video. Obviously, like I said before, there's been plenty and many great superhero games through the years. And, it's a shame that people, that with this thought process right now, that think only the superhero games on the, PlayStation, which is only, right now 2, really, is the only ones that count and that are important. And that is like hypocrisy at its highest kind, at the highest level, and pretty much ignorance or the stupidity. Well, it runs pretty high, It runs pretty high. Let me know what you guys think of my collection. Let me know if you guys have your own. Share it with me, your thoughts. It's always good for gaming conversation. Share this video with someone you think might like it. And, as always, thank you so much for all of you that continue to give me love and support. Because without you guys, my channel would be nothing. It would not be sustained. If you're new to the channel and like what I do and my content, you know what? Thank you so much for stopping by. But if you subscribe, that means the world to me. And because you did, I consider you now part of my family. As always, guys, if you would love to help me out in any way, shape, or form to continue to get great content or more great games or figures or, collectibles to share and highlight and showcase for you guys, it's a way that you can do so only if you want to from the kindness of your heart, and of course if you have the means to. It's not obligated. It's all your choice. You can do it with the information down in the description below with my Patreon and my PayPal. You can, basically try it there for me. I'm trying to press start. And also, if you want to donate anything to to the channel, because you like what I do and you would like for me to highlight something, like I said, and would like for me to how you call it, you would like for me to highlight something, or to showcase something, it would be an honor. It would be a pleasure for me to do so. So again, you can DM me in my social medias, like my Twitter, which is not going to give the information out just yet, but if you know what I am, you'll probably can figure it out. But you can also check me out on Instagram under C_respect, and on the Xbox and Nintendo Switch under Hebot8, and on the PlayStation Network under Alfel from Sky. So guys, there you have it. There is my collection. I hope you guys enjoyed. Love you guys very much. I'll see you in the next one. This is Hebot signing off. Bye-bye.